Well, everyone, welcome to World at Work Comics. I'm very excited for the first time to have Mr. Morgan Hampton on. Morgan, it's such a pleasure to meet you, man. We've been going back and forth, and I'm glad you were willing to come on.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I'm very excited to be here and talk with you. So appreciate it.
No, likewise, man. I mean, I'm a big Green Lantern guy, and obviously been reading the Green Lantern Corps. I'm so glad that title is back. I grew up with that title,
Yeah.
man, to have just the whole group of all these Green Lanterns in one title again and being able to kind of play off of one another. I just can't wait to hear what you have plans for, what you could talk about. But before I get into that, Morgan, if it's okay with you, just for fans to get to know you a little bit better, I would love to kind of go into your history of comic books and some of the people you work with, and because it's a pretty amazing story of how you got to this point. And I would love to dig into that if you're okay with that.
Yeah, let's do it. I'll try to give you the Cliff's Notes version. I'll say when I first got started, well, first of all, obviously I was a fan first. I grew up reading comics. I used to just comics kind of what got me into reading as a kid. I didn't have the stamina for the 700-page Harry Potter book, so I would go to the comic book shop at like 7 or 8 years old and just peel through the long boxes, like the dollar bins. And I wasn't reading for story at the time. I was just like whatever looked cool, I would get into. I remember the first like comic that I really paid attention to was it was the Dan Jurgens kind of like alternate universe tangent comics at DC. That was like my first introduction to like the multiverse, and I was like, this is blowing my mind right now. And just from there, it's been so much fun just reading comics. Fast forward to when I wanted to become a writer, I got my undergrad degree at San Francisco State University, and when I graduated from, oh, sorry, the degree was in creative writing. And when I graduated from that, I didn't want to do like prose or poetry or anything. I wanted to go straight up and do comics, right? So I started self-publishing. Um, I reached out to, if you've heard of David Walker, he used to write Power Man and Iron Fist. He co-writes Bitter Root right now. I sent him a cold email. I don't know how I had the confidence to do so, but I was just like, how do I be like you, essentially? And the next day, he was kind enough. He answered me, and he was like, here's a bunch of books to read, but also you need to start going to conventions and meeting people at your level, and making comics. And he was like, the best advice he gave me, which I try to give people now, is start small when you're getting started. Like, don't, everyone has like that magnum opus they want to do. Don't do that for your first thing. Do a 10-page comic, even an 8 or a 5-page comic, because it helps you get your reps in. You do your beginning, middle, and end, and you finish, and then you've done something and you've learned, and you do it again. And I took that advice and went up again. And every self-published comic that I did, I tried to find a new artist as well, so that way I can kind of learn how different artists approach the craft and how I need to approach different artists, because everybody's a little different. And then fast forward a couple years after that, I did that for maybe 4 or 5 years. Milestone Initiative was announced in the middle of COVID, and it was an open call for anyone. Not even, you didn't have to have any experience, but I had a couple of years of self-publishing under my belt, so I applied to that with the shorts that I had done, and then with that application, we also had to write a script with a prompt that they gave us, and interviewed for it around this time of year. I guess it was 2021 at that point, but it was the holidays, and to this day, I don't know how, but I got in, and the rest is history, And then I've just been able to snowball opportunities. So I did DC Power, which got me Cyborg, which got me a Star Trek book at another publisher, and that book, in a roundabout way, got me Green Lantern Corps. So yeah.
Incredible, Morgan. So, I mean, what was your first experience with the Milestone Initiative, and who did you work with over there?
Yeah, I mean, we kind of worked with a little bit of everybody. The initiative was kind of formatted. It was 12 writers and 12 artists, and I guess the goal of it was to write or create an 8-page story. So the writers would team up with the artists, but in the middle of it, we had basically a class. The 12 writers had a class with Amy Chu, and the 12 artists had a class with Tom Mandrake, I believe his name was, and we were basically working on our comic in that class. So we were getting notes from the 12 other writers on the writer's side and Amy Chu, and then the artists were getting notes from their teacher and the other artists. And then by the end of it, we kind of just came together and finished our story. And a year later, that was published. at the end of that initiative, we did a week-long summit at the DC offices in Burbank, and anyone from everyone came in to talk to us. The highlights were absolutely Reginald Hudlin and Dennis Cowan came in and just kept it real with us, but also like told us how proud they were of us, you know, because they were the ones who kind of, the editors selected us as well, but like they had final say on like who was going to get chosen for this thing. Dream come true, absolutely.
Have a couple legends that had a say in Morgan Hampton coming into college. I think that's pretty darn cool.
Yeah, it was, yeah, I pinch myself every day. I got a text yesterday from Dennis saying Merry Christmas. I was like, that's crazy. You have my number. You said it, Merry Christmas.
Literally a living legend in the comic book industry is Dennis Cowan. I'm a huge fan. We were just talking about that before we hit the record button. So super jealous of you, man, but extremely happy for you. I mean, yeah, to get any kind of advice from any of those folks over at Milestone with everything that they went through to get their stories out there. And then obviously 35 plus years of producing at a very high level. I mean, absolutely incredible, man. So congratulations. That's awesome.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
And then I read an article that you got a little bit of mentorship from Marv Wolfman, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, so
like, I mean, he's another guy that's accomplished quite a bit.
Yeah, that was crazy because I didn't know it was coming until like the day it was coming. It was when I was working on Cyborg. So some more backstory. When I got the Cyborg book, the only credit I had to my name that was out into the world was my DC Power story, which was a Cyborg story, but it was 8 pages. Maybe it was 10. I don't remember. 8 to 10 pages. And then I got a 6-issue series. I had never written, even in my shorts, I had never written a full comic book before. And now I have 6 issues to do. So I think that was their way of like, you know, helping shepherd me along to make sure I had some guardrails because, you know, Marv Wolfman, like you said, is a beast and a legend in this industry. And so, yeah, for that first issue of Cyborg, he gave me a round of notes. A lot of it was just like, you know, stuff you don't know until you actually are writing professionally, you know, like, you know, you want to keep a certain amount of letters to a dialogue bubble and you want to have a flow to your panels and all that type of stuff. And he actually got, he had injured himself after that. So he was only able to give notes on that first issue.
Oh, wow.
So we didn't have too much correspondence after that. And I've seen him since, and I thanked him for, it was at a convention. I think it was LA Comic-Con like last year. I thanked him for his help. And yeah, it was great to meet him and have him put a name to the face.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. I got to meet him one time. I got my new Teens Titans 16 signed by him.
Nice.
But very exciting, man. That's freaking awesome, bro. Yeah, I mean, to be able to touch Cyborg, which is a phenomenal, you know, main character, right? Not only just Teen Titans and Justice League and whatnot. Like, what was your approach? And did you already have kind of a story that you wanted to tell when you already knew beforehand, or was a story kind of like, here's what we would like you to do, make it your own? How did that all come out?
Yeah, I got so lucky with Cyborg, man. Cyborg was my favorite character growing up. Nice. And probably still to this day. You know, I grew up.
You know, I talk to other writers; they wait years to be able to touch the character that they enjoy, man. So, congrats on that, man. That's awesome, bro.
I don't know how, but I got so lucky. I think it's because, you know, for better or for worse, like no one's checking on Cyborg like that. Like I'm the guy, you know. So when that's kind of how I got the gig. My editor Marquise knew I loved Cyborg, and they were doing a book. They didn't have a writer attached, and he was the first person I thought of because I guess no one else is like, I want to write a Cyborg book. So yeah, I was a fan first, and I didn't have a concrete story off the jump, but I had stuff in my head for years of just that I would want to see with the character done, because as much as I loved the character, he hadn't progressed much in the 40 years of his existence up until my book. It was a lot of the same old problems recycled over and over and over again, and I wanted to do away with the daddy issues and the am I a man or am I a machine? So those were the two things I came into. I didn't have a concrete way of how I was going to approach those things, but those were the two things that I was like, at the end of the series, you know, we're going to deal with it in this series, but at the end of it, like, I want to take Victor to a point where we don't ever have to deal with this again, you know?
Yeah, no, that's awesome, man. I know I kind of feel bad for Cyborg because it's such an amazing character, and the
Yeah,
backstory is pretty cool, but he's kind of been in that same state for a long time. And
yeah.
your 6-issue arc really delved more into him as a person, which I thought was awesome, man. So congrats on that, because I think that was needed to be done. Like, do you have other stories, if you ever got your hands on that character again, that you'd like to continue? Yeah.
Absolutely. I've sent my editor Marquise a lot of ideas to come back. Yeah, that at this point, my goal is getting back to Cyborg. Unfortunately, I think this is a comics thing in general, but not every book is Batman, you know, and numbers are important, and certain characters just don't bring in the numbers no matter what you do. Unless you're Tom King, I guess, because
Yeah, exactly.
he can bring in numbers for any B or C character. But yeah, at some point I would love to do some more Cyborg, because now that we've kind of got past those issues, I would love to just create a new pathway for him, you know.
Well, next year, right there's a whole new movement at DC to bring some of these characters that deserve more love, but really haven't seen a lot of love. So we're hopeful that you might get your hands on that character in the
Yeah.
next year or so, because I think that would be amazing.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah,
Yeah,
that
yeah,
would be
that'd
great.
be awesome. Yeah. I also read, and I want to get this right, because let me just pull it up. Um, you've gone into some of your interviews really talking about some of the struggles that you go through just on a personal level. Let me make sure I pronounce it right. Hemophilia, which is
Yes,
like a
correct.
blood disorder. Like, how has that affected you? I think we all go through something. And it's always cool to see that human side, and kind of what people have to battle while they're doing, like, we all love the writing, we all love it, but there's like a whole personal side to each writer, and sometimes
Yeah.
that gets lost, right, because of the character and everything. Can you kind of walk through that, and how you kind of overcome that?
Yeah. So for everyone listening, hemophilia, it's a bleeding disorder. It's a blood clotting disorder specifically. It basically means that I don't heal from injuries on my own. I have to take medication to replace the clotting factor in my blood to facilitate my healing. So I like to explain it to people just like in a Cliff Notes version. It's just like I'm the opposite of Wolverine. You know, he heals from everything instantaneously, and I heal from nothing, none of the time. So yeah, growing up was difficult for me because one, I'm a boy, and boys are absolutely insane, and I'm running into walls and jumping off beds and couches and stuff, and
Yeah.
that type of stuff would send me to the emergency room to get my medication before I was able to facilitate it myself. So I wasn't able to go out and do a lot of the things when I was really young that my friends were doing, just being rambunctious in the streets and stuff. I was kind of stuck at home playing video games and reading comics, and which are all great things, but like when you're told that you can't do certain things, like that's what you focus on most. But it's because of that, the way that I was brought up, kind of with an overprotective upbringing, that I gravitated towards all those things, like comics and video games and TV and movies, because that was my way out, right? That was the thing that made me that I was having fun with. And then once I got a little older, and I realized I wanted to write, it was a sense of purpose for me, because I was living in a world where I was being told no about everything that I wanted to do. This was one thing that like no one could tell me no about, right? And so I just like decided that's what I wanted to do and just ran straight toward it.
I love it, man. So a lot of battles you had to go through, so us as fans can have the Green Lantern that we have today, and the Cyborg that we have today, and some of the other stuff you worked on. So big price for you to pay for us to have the enjoyment of what you're writing today, man.
Thank you.
Wheel Creators Outlet says he has hemophilia, but it's the end of the spectrum, so his blood super clots. So he
Oh
has to
wow,
take Eliquius, I guess. So
that's
yeah,
crazy.
yeah,
I didn't
yeah.
know there was an opposite end of the spectrum. I'm
I
gonna have to
didn't know
look into
either.
that. Yeah, wow.
There's an A and B of hemophilia, right?
Yes, yeah.
Which one do you have?
I'm hemophilia A.
A, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. And then he also said, Morgan, we're all opposite of Wolverine.
Yeah, absolutely.
Good point, Will. Good point. That's awesome, man. Well, incredible that you were on these titles, man. I did want to show you, man. I can't remember the comic shop that you and Jeremy were at signing autographs in Southern California. I used to live in Southern California. I live in Texas now because I moved here for work.
Okay.
But I was able to get the first 5 issues signed by you in Germany, man, which is pretty cool.
Oh, it must have been Collector's Paradise, I think.
That's
where we did that.
That's it. So I saw you guys were there, and I do order from Collector's Paradise once in a while because they do have a lot of amazing talent that comes in and signs all the time.
Yeah.
So that was pretty cool, man, that I have that in my back pocket. I don't know if I'll see you at a con anytime soon, so I'm like, I better grab
it. Yeah. I'm going to try to do a lot more in 2026, so hopefully
you come to Texas, man. Dallas Fan Expo is a really good one for comics.
Okay.
Their Artist Alley with all the writers and artists is pretty good. Scott was there, and Greg Capullo was there, and who else? Philip Kennedy Johnson was there. Jonathan Galapian was there. So there was some pretty amazing talent there, man. So you'd fit in really great there. Chris Condon was there. So it was awesome, man. So we'd love to see you there, man, if you ever make it this way.
I'll have to add it to my list for sure.
For sure, man. I got to ask you about the sweater, man. Is that something that you get just for working at DC?
I'm gonna brag and say yeah.
Oh, dude, I've never seen that,
man. The DC did a talent development summit, not talent development, sorry, a talent summit earlier in 2025. It was in January, end of the month. They had Scott was there, Josh Williamson was there. Basically, everyone who's on an ongoing book was there. And we were kind of all the DCKL stuff that's coming out right now. We were all kind of pitching on that and getting it to the point of the coolness that it's at right now. And at the last day, they gave us some free swag, which I was waiting for. I was like, I know we're getting something free. I'm leaving here with something. And they gave us these sweaters. So
Morgan, that's awesome, man.
Yeah.
That's a nice sweater, bro. I've been staring at it ever since. I can't keep my eyes off of it, man.
Yeah.
That's dope. Hey, now that you've gone through the Milestone Initiative and now you're on your own ongoing series, have you been brought back to kind of talk to other folks that are going through that same initiative that you went through?
They haven't done one since we did ours.
So it's one and done for you guys?
I don't know if it's one and done, but I mean, DC has done talent development programs before. I think actually Philip Kennedy Johnson came through one. I don't know if it was the one before the Milestone, but it was like 2016, 2017.
Yeah.
The Milestone Initiative was the first one that was specifically dedicated to Black, Brown, underrepresented voices.
That's awesome.
They called it, when we did it, they called it the inaugural class, which would make you think they're gonna be another one. But just when you look at, I guess, the track record of all of their talent development programs, it's not every year. It's like every 4 or 5, it seems like. So yeah, I don't know if they're gonna do specifically another one that's geared towards that. But either way, I would be down to come back and talk to people. And also people reach out to me all the time, like DMs and emails. Like I try to pay it forward as much as I can. Like I said, when David Walker, when I cold emailed him, like he answered me the next day. Like I'm probably not going to be as good as him. I'm just going to be honest in terms of my swift replies, but I try to answer everybody.
Yeah, that's awesome, Morgan. Incredible experience to be able to go through that and meet all those legends. And here you are pretty quickly on your own title. I think that's pretty awesome, man.
When you put it that way, yeah, it doesn't always feel that way, but yeah, it has only been a couple of years. You're right. But I think as a creative, we're always looking for more or the next thing, and we're like, this isn't enough, and it's hard to be kind of present sometimes. So I appreciate you kind of putting it in those terms.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think that's phenomenal that at your age and as young as you are, man, that you're on your own DC title, man. I don't know, man. I think that's amazing. I think we all grow up reading comic books. And I don't know if you did this too. I definitely did it. I'm assuming you did too, because writing became such a passion for you. You were probably looking at characters in comic books and then come up with your own stories for them.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I think that's fun, right? As a kid, sitting on your stomach on the ground with a piece of paper. Like, this is a story I would tell about this character, man. And
exactly.
I think that's awesome, man.
Yeah.
I think that's how it starts, right?
Absolutely. Yes. Yeah. It's just your imagination just goes wild.
Well, let's talk about Green Lantern. Oh, here we have one question real quick. What's the one DC character that you've always wanted to do? And Will, you got in a little late. We did talk a little about Cyborg. And,
it's Cyborg.
I talked to a lot of writers, and they wait years before they get their hands on their very favorite of comic book. And here you are, man. You jump right in on Cyborg. I think that's amazing. Is there another one though? Like, is there another character? If you could say, if I could get my second favorite, I'm waiting on that.
I'll give you 2.
Okay.
we've been talking a lot about Milestone. So if and when there's another Static book, I would love to be considered. And I think long-term goal, 5-year plan, maybe 10-year plan. I would love to write Superman.
Yeah.
I've always been a Superman fan, but obviously this year with the movie, that just kind of reinvigorated my fandom for the character. And I also think it's important as a Black creator, like, to not only write Black characters, and I love the Black characters, and I think Black creatives and writers and artists should be on those books, because we, have the authenticity and experience to kind of facilitate realistic stories, but also we should be able to write other characters too. And why not shoot for the stars for someone like Superman? I don't know if on a main title Superman book that there's been a Black writer on an ongoing book. So I think that's a goal I have. It's a long goal, but it's a long-term goal. Yeah.
Absolutely. In the conversations that I've had with Christopher Priest, he's adamant about that. And he's been frustrated in the past where he feels like when a Black character comes up, they call him, they're like, I'm not taking that character, man. Give me something else,
Yeah, we talked a little bit about that. I think me and you were talking before the show started. I met him for the first time last month or earlier this month at a show in Ohio, and we specifically talked about that because he did a Superman book, a really good one, about a year and a half ago. Yeah.
No, he did a dope one. And then, he's on Conan the Barbarian, which is one of my favorite characters. He had a long run on Conan, and then obviously Green Lantern, mainly with Hal Jordan, but he wrote he has one of the best runs in Green Lantern history, I think, with Hal Jordan. So, that's awesome, man. I couldn't agree with you more. All right, let's talk a little bit about Green Lantern Corps.
Sure.
So you start on issue 1. You and Jeremy are kind of working together. Jeremy's obviously doing the Green Lantern title. My assumption is he was there more for mentorship, and you were probably doing more of the heavy lifting because he's on his own title. He also has Aquaman and he has Flash Gordon. So I don't know what you think your ability is on how many different titles you could write at the same time. But I feel just from talking to people, again, I don't have your experience, but you get up to 3-4 titles. That's a lot, man, to mentally be able to divorce yourself from that title and move on to the next one, right? You gotta almost. I talked to Jimmy Palmiotti, and he says when he has multiple titles, he spends 1 week on one week on another, because his mind, he has to be able to turn it off and turn it on to the new character. Have you kind of played around with that, and what do you think your limits are?
Yeah, I haven't been on. I guess technically, when I was doing Cyborg, I was writing the Star Trek book too.
Oh, that's right.
Those deadlines were different. Because Cyborg or Marvel and DC deadlines are absolutely insane. Like, we're turning in a script for a comic that's going to come out in like 2 months. Like, that's crazy. When I did Cyborg at IDW, like, that was a 4-issue miniseries that I was done with the book before the first issue even came out. Like, and I had been done for like 6 months. So I'll say I was probably doing issues 5 and 6 of Cyborg when I was writing the first 2 issues of Sons of Star Trek. I was also in grad school at the time too. I got my MFA in TV writing and producing, so I was writing like pilots and stuff too. Nice. That was a lot. That it was like a 2.5-3 month period. That was definitely a lot. Thankfully for me, I don't do much other than write. Like, I'm not going out much. I go to the movies sometimes, but it took a lot of my energy. So I don't know. I'm sure writing a couple books at the same time, especially on a Marvel or DC deadline schedule, it has to be absolutely insane. I think what I'm learning specifically on Green Lantern Corps, because it's an ongoing and that's a different beast than anything I've done to this point, is so much of writing comics is like learning the art of pivoting, because you may have an idea that you really want to do, and then like editors are like, no, you can't do it, and then you're on a tight schedule, or it's like they want you to tie something into some event that they're doing that you had no idea was coming until this morning, and now you got to figure it out. It's a lot.
Nothing worse than kind of being in a flow and then all of a sudden like, hey, we have this giant event and we need you to tie into that event. You're like, I don't know how I'm going to do that, man. Like, how do I make that make sense, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
So you were on the first 10 issues, which we got right here. And then actually you went through 9, 10, you actually took over, right?
Yes, correct.
Was that kind of a relief?
I mean, it was a relief in the sense that, like, I knew this is DC investing in me,
Yeah.
but also it was a sense of anxiety because I knew this is DC investing in me, and I gotta make sure that I don't let them down,
I feel like
But yeah,
you have a harder title too, Morgan, because you are juggling like tens of
it's a
characters.
lot. It's a
It's a
lot.
lot, man. Whereas if
Yeah,
you're doing like Green Lantern juggles, I mean, anytime you touch Green Lantern, whether it's the core or it's the Green Lantern, you're touching multiple characters. And I guess in
yeah,
every comic book you kind of are, but this one's different. I'm not
yeah.
sure there's too many other titles outside of like Avengers, X-Men, what else? Justice League, where you're
Mhm.
like every character is so different. And when you bring them together to have all those different voices, I think this is perfect for someone like you at this stage in your career from a training standpoint to be able to
Oh yeah,
manage all these
yeah.
different dispositions. And like, has that been pretty unique for you?
Yeah, it's like learning how to drive using like a semi truck, and then like driving a sedan afterwards, right? Like it's absolutely, yeah, it's a lot, and I take a pounding every time I work on a script, but I really do feel like I'm getting better every time I turn in a script as well. And I think something going back to with me and Jeremy on the
Yeah.
first 9 issues, something that we discovered, I think it was issue 4, is we started doing an A story and a B story,
Mm-hmm.
which breaks up the plot a little bit, but it also gives you the ability to service more characters while you do that. Or if you just have an A story, you're just following that group of 3 or 4 characters you have for 20 pages, right? And I know that means sometimes like the stories are a little bit shorter in each issue, but that's why comics are episodic. You come back for the next issue to continue, and I think that's the best way, at least for now. It's a great formula to give everyone a little bit of shine because, like you said, there's so many characters, and from a fan standpoint, everyone's got their favorite. Everyone wants to see their favorite. You don't know how many times I get messages being like, "Why wasn't Kyle in this issue?" Like, and I'm like, "Hey, I'm trying." But also now everyone kind of knows why, because he's going to be in the main book. So, so it's a lot of that. It's just like I got to figure out how to give everybody a line or a page or a panel, just something to give them some shine. And now that everything's on OA, right now it's not just the Green Lantern Corps; it's everybody.
All the different cores, all the different spectrums,
Yeah.
right? All the emotional spectrums are being touched, and they're all very unique in themselves. Have you experienced in any of the characters one that kind of you relate to the most so far out of the core? Who's that character?
For sure, John Stewart for me. I grew up on like the Justice League animated show. So even though I was reading comics, like I said, I wasn't following the stories at that point. And the shows are really what introduced me to like who these characters actually were and what their whole deal was. So he was my first Green Lantern, right? I was around probably 9 or 10 when that show was coming on. And now as I've gotten older, obviously knowing a lot more about John Stewart, with his history as a Marine, I think of my dad when I write John, or even just when I see John, because my dad was a Marine for 23, 24 years.
Nice.
So like when I'm writing him, I approach it from my dad's perspective, and we've even had conversations about like I'll call him up and be like, how would you approach this as a Marine? Like I did a kind of a remix of the John Stewart origin that came out earlier this year. And me and him had a long conversation about that. Even just for like some like visual stuff, I'm just like, what kind of uniform would a cadet wear? Like, is this the right thing? Is this the right thing? Like, so I think, yeah, with John, I have the closest tie to, and he's my favorite.
Looks like Dad's in the comments, man.
26 years. Hey, Dad.
26 years. Congratulations and thank you for your service. That's awesome, man. That's so cool, Morgan, that you have that kind of connection to that character. I'm 50, so I assume I'm quite a bit older than you. Obviously, Hal Jordan was probably the Green Lantern that I was introduced first, but my dad was also a Marine. And so when I read John Stewart, especially like early on in the Mosaic and some of the other titles that focus more on John Stewart, him being a Marine was a bigger part of the story. And so to be able to see him kind of return to that, he has a lot more depth than when I first read, right? When I first read, it was very like robotic a lot of times. And so
he was very angry black man too for a while.
exactly. Again, we all have anger for different reasons, but if that's the only story you're always telling, I just feel like that character is just not being developed, I think, in the way he could be. And so to add that more depth and see other aspects of him, like what Philip Kennedy Johnson did with his mom, I thought that was great. It's another level that makes him more human in the eyes of the fans. And for you to be able to take something so close to you like that and even add that back into it where it's more personal, I feel like that's what Jon Stewart needs. And I'm really excited about the TV show. I don't know if you've watched the trailer and what your thoughts are about that.
Yeah, so I'm very excited about it. And going back to that summit I went to earlier this year, Tom King told me a couple of things about what's going to happen that I can't tell you, obviously. But I'm very excited. It should be a good time. I think Aaron Pierre was great casting, and Kyle Chandler as well. And yeah, the trailer. I think that what was it, 15 seconds of this him jumping out of the car and leaving the ring for John. Like that's all you need to see. Like that right there is enough characterization. Like I think the show's in really good hands.
100%. And I could tell you, I have 4 kids. I have a son and 3 girls. None of them like comic books. I'm the only goofball that collects comics and reads them. I've tried, and none of them want to do with it. But I would tell you, with Aaron Pierre being the Green Lantern, Jon Stewart, all of a sudden they're very interested in this TV show. So we'll see what happens. Others are, at least. So we'll see what happens. It seems like he's going to kind of be the lead Green Lantern in the series too. It seems like there's going to be some sort of mentorship, but I think the show is going to spend more time on Jon Stewart, and him as taking the lead as the Green Lantern, right? Within the universe that James is creating over there with Tom King. So I think that's pretty exciting. And man, I'm hoping that brings more eyes to both titles, Green Lantern and Green Lantern Corps. I think that would be amazing.
Yeah, same. I think what's great about what James is doing with the DCU right now is I know the Supergirl trailer came out like last week or the week before too, and at the end of it had a plug for Woman of Tomorrow. Like we need more of that. Like show the fans where this stuff is coming from, even if it's not a direct 1-for-1 adaptation like that movie is. But like that's what's important. Come look at the source material and you'll see a whole different world too. Because this stuff, as great as movies and TV shows are, they're still different. And you're never going to be able to 100% capture the magic of reading a comic.
I think a lot of fans, and to be honest, when I see things go too far off of where the comics were, this because I'm older and I'm like, that's not that character, right? And so I don't get too upset where I'm definitely not threatening the lives of people. I think that's nuts when people do that. Like that's not the right adaptation. It's nuts what these people have to go through. But I also understand it's very difficult to adapt TV or movie word for word to a comic book. It's impossible, right? They're 2 different venues of storytelling. Now, again, I know you can't say anything what Tom told you, but will that affect your Jon Stewart in the comic books, you think?
No, I don't think so.
No.
If anything, like I know, and this is not like a conversation I had with him, it was more so like a conversation I had with my editors when they first announced like the casting for everything. It was more so like, or not even the casting, sorry, it was when Superman was coming out. They were like, we need more guy, let's figure out how to put more guy in here. So I think that's kind of the synergy that you're trying to go for, is just like what characters are in the TV, in the movies, and like how can you uplift them in the comic book, but not necessarily in a way that's tied to whatever thing is coming out. So that's kind of where this Guy Gardner being the all site with the bowl cut coming back, that's kind of was born out of that. Plus the DCKO stuff as well.
Yeah. No, I absolutely love it. I assume because Guy was in Peacemaker that we might see Guy throughout the series. He is more of that kind of arrogant bastard, comic relief kind of character. And then Jon Stewart is more of that stoic proper individual that wants to do things the right way. And we'll get pretty upset if it's not done the right way. So it'd be interesting to see if that characterization takes place in the series that's coming out.
Yeah. I'm really excited about that. I've heard James Gunn said something like that Nathan Fillion did a really good job of translating that character to a more dramatic, arena, because Superman was a lot of things, but it was also very funny, and he definitely upped the camp for that character in that. But to see him in a Lantern show that seems like it's gonna be a hard drama, like I'm very excited to see how he approaches Guy in that way.
Yeah, me too. Well, let's jump into this latest issue, if that's okay. So we have 11 that just came out. Was it a week ago, maybe? I think it was
a couple weeks, I think. Yeah.
A couple weeks now. Yeah. So a lot's going on, man. A lot's going on. We have a villain that we're introduced to right off the bat. Can you kind of walk through that character and the development of that character, and what's going on in the first couple pages there? I got my.
I had to think a second because I'm script-wise. I'm
like
ahead. Yeah, I was like, wait, who's developed? So his name is Ankar.
Right.
He's an aquatic individual. I got lazy. His race is also called the Ankar. But we kind of dive into that. I think that's in this issue. I hope I'm not spoiling things. But that he's from a race of like a hive mind, essentially. This planet, also called Ankar, again, me being lazy. He's a person, he's a people, and there's a planet. This planet was all water, and every individual, I guess, or the whole ocean was all a hive mind of individual minds. As a collective. But what I wanted to explore, I'm a big fan of Star Trek, as I mentioned, because I wrote a Star Trek book. I wanted to explore the Green Lantern Corps in a way where, almost like Starfleet, where they're well intended, but they're not always perfect, and sometimes they make mistakes even without even realizing it. So this is millennia ago, they bring a refugee species to this planet that they think is uninhabited because it's just water, but they don't find out. But the hive mind on this planet where Ankar is basically gets polluted to the point of extinction, and he is the last survivor of his race. So he's now got a vendetta against not the people that were brought there, but the people that brought them there, which is the Green Lantern Corps. And that's kind of what his whole thing is. And he's got a kindred spirit with Fatality, another classic Green Lantern Corps villain, because she also lost her entire planet to, depending on who you talk to, the mistake of a Green Lantern, right? Who is John Stewart. So those two are now working together to, give the Green Lantern Corps their lick back, essentially. And I don't know if anyone's caught this, and I actually haven't even posted about it, but Ankar was in the first issue of Green Lantern Corps.
What? Are you serious?
Yeah, I'm serious.
I know you're serious, but I'm just sorry. I didn't mean you were lying, Morgan. I'm sorry, man.
It's that issue. It's funny because it was just a gag that me and Jeremy did. So at the time, it wasn't a plan to do anything further with it. It was when it's in the first couple issues of the book where Joe and John are walking through like a precinct, basically on Oa. And Guy is holding this little aquatic water baby that explodes into his face and then kind of is reborn again right in front of him.
So that's him.
That's him. And when I took over the book, I was like, wouldn't it be cool if I just like made it seem like we planned this the whole time? And now I'm telling you that I didn't. But yeah, I was like, let me plant this seed here, or act like we planted this seed here. So it feels a little bit more lived in,
I love that, Morgan. I love that.
Thank you.
That is so cool, man. I was trying to find it real quick. Here we go. There it is right there then, right?
Yep, that's him.
With his back to, that's probably why we're like, what the hell, who is that? A lot of times, and especially in the Green Lantern Corps, like we know, maybe 15, 20 that we see all the time within Green Lantern Corps, but there's thousands of Green Lanterns, right? Yeah. And so obviously he's not green, right? Although he has a green streak on him. You kind of just gloss over it because it's just like a random Green Lanterns just sitting there taking it all in.
Yeah.
Obviously, that's not the case now because he's.
Yeah, if you look even closer too, he's got handcuffs on.
Oh, is that what that is?
Yeah, he had been arrested. Yeah.
That is hilarious, man. That's right. It is handcuffs.
Yep.
Dude,
it's just hard to tell because he's see-through.
Exactly, man. That is hilarious, bro. Oh, I love it, man. That is. Sorry, my mind's like, what the hell?
I guess you're the first to know because I don't think anyone's caught it yet. So that's so funny.
I don't think anybody did. Hopefully, I have a group of friends that are huge Green Lantern folks. So you'll probably get like a bazillion requests to come on their podcast, man, because they only do Green Lantern. That's all they do. And they're diehards. Like they know, like I love everything. So I don't have all the answers for Green Lantern. They will tell you like, in this issue, this happened, this issue, that happened. I mean, they're like crazy, which I love. That's why I listen to them. But anyways, that's awesome, man. What's going on with Jon Stewart in this issue?
This was issue 11.
Issue 11, right? He's having dinner.
Yes.
He's kind of out of it, right? In this issue, he's taking a step back.
Yeah, it's him. This is the one with Ellie, right?
Yes, with Ellie.
Yes, yeah.
And she goes through a transformation in this too.
Yeah. What I wanted to do with this is, I also, before I even say this, I am a huge fan of Green Lantern War Journal, Philip Kennedy Johnson's book, and so much of what we've been doing with John has been spinning out of what was going on in that book. And I just want to say I'm having the time of my life. Like I love character work and getting characters to go through something and come through something changed. And I think what he did on that book gave us an opportunity because it left things kind of open-ended, right? So we can pick it up and take it to its next logical point. So that's a lot of what we've been doing with John. I think the first 9 issues, we kind of leaned into more of the questionable decision-making that he was having or making. And then, the reveal at the end of 9 when John dies and we remember that he actually split himself up like a couple years ago. This John coming back, having to reconcile with the decisions that the other John had been making. It was something that I was like, I am so excited to dig into this. So I kind of approached it to where he was kind of done being a Green Lantern, but now he's been kind of roped back into it. But he's trying to juggle his life with this other version of Kat Matui, while also having his, sister who died years ago, who is now a construct made from his ring that he didn't himself make, who is also now a Blue Lantern and is just around all the time. That's a lot to deal with,
Sure.
But I didn't want to string it along anymore. I wanted to deal with it now. Because I think that's the thing with just humanity and life in general is like, we try to ignore problems and life is not going to let us do that. So, Ellie has an issue on Mogo with the character Effigy. She naturally calls John to come and help. And of course he comes. But then she is obliterated in front of his eyes. And I think that makes him realize like, oh, I've had a lot of complicated feelings about her even existing, but I definitely don't want her not to exist. And now she's gone. And then, he beats Effigy's ass. And then it turns out that Ellie is so powerful because she is made of literal willpower and now can wield hope that she wills herself back into existence. But I think it changes something in John. There's a panel in there where his mom in his ring is saying, your sister is special. And he's like, what? I'm not necessarily going to call her my sister, but that doesn't mean she's not family, and I think that's a little bit of growth for him. And it was really fun and nice to kind of give them that moment,
No, absolutely. Yeah. When she gets obliterated, I'm like, what the hell? See what she comes back as, right? I thought was amazing. And I love what you said about Jon Stewart and that relationship with Ellie. And now it seems like that relationship's going to change, right? So I don't know if it'll bring them closer in the issues moving forward, but certainly what she brings to the core is going to change, I think, what she means to the core moving forward, right?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
And then
she's
Mogo
been one of my favorite characters. Yeah.
Oh, she's awesome, man. She's amazing. Yeah. That's why when she died, I'm like, no, what's going on? And then Mogo's going through it too, man, on fire and everything's going like.
Yeah. Another one of my favorite characters. He's such an interesting character.
Yes.
Like a sentient planet with a Green Lantern ring is insane.
I love it, man. I love it. So as you're moving forward, you said you were like, what, 3 issues ahead?
Yeah, I'm on we're almost done with 14 right now, and I'm writing 15. Yeah.
And is Will Conrad working with you the whole time?
I think Will was just on 11. He might be on 13 too. Yeah. This is also the other thing about comics too, is like sometimes it's a carousel of artists. And also, like, I didn't realize this as a fan when I was just a fan. I would get mad. I was like, why are we breaking up the consistency of the art? Like, blah, 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 blah. Like, people need breaks, you know? Like, that's essentially what it is. And like I said, comics move so fast. Sometimes, like, someone's got to be brought in. And that's just how it is. But I think Will did those pages with Ellie when she kind of brings herself back to life. He did a great job on that. I don't think he's back at least on the issues I'm working on. I don't think he's back.
Yeah.
In those. Yeah. Fernando Pasarin's back for 12, which is coming out in a couple weeks.
Nice.
And then
how about French?
French is not back. No. I think 13 is Juan Jose Rip. I think that's how you pronounce his last name. Mm-hmm. He's primarily done Marvel work, and he does the whole issue, so it's not a whole bunch of artists. He does the whole issue. And then Fernando's back for 14, and then from 14 on, from what I've been told, unless things change, it's going to be Fernando for a bit before he gets another break. So it's going to be some consistency for a while.
I love it. Yeah. I talked to French a little bit earlier today, just going back on IMing one another. And so he said he might come into the chat, but he wasn't sure if he'd be able to break away from family. So, but yeah, it's awesome. And the title was great. Issue 11. The art is awesome. I thought the art came out really good because I think you had 3 artists on this one.
Yeah, that's one of those things too. Like, there's so many cooks in the kitchen, like continuity wise. Again, like as a fan, I'm like, how could you get this wrong on this page? And now I realize how mistakes slip through, you know, like, but like, yeah, there's 3 artists on here. There's me, there's we have 2 editors and then a group editor. Like there's a lot of eyes on things, but there's also just a lot of people working alone, right? And then you turn in your pages, and then sometimes we have to have a all hands on meeting. We got to fix something real quick before we send it to the printer. But everyone killed it on this issue. I was really proud of it.
Absolutely. Do you have a favorite part of this issue that stands out of everything going on with Mogo and John Stewart, and Ellie?
Definitely. This was the issue with Aya and Razor too, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Yes, that's up there, but definitely the Ellie thing.
Yeah.
Because that's something like when I first got brought onto the book, I knew the 2 things I wanted to work on were John, and at the time it wasn't Ellie, but I had pitched Paul Kaminsky, who's the group editor on this book. I had pitched him something that had a sentient Green Lantern construct who becomes a Blue Lantern. At the time, that pitch was like, it was Mogo based, and it was like a construct that Mogo had on his planet. But I was able to kind of turn that into Ellie because Ellie already existed, and to have kind of her have a metamorphosis of sorts in this issue was something I was really proud of.
Yeah, she got wings, man.
Yeah. I think with her, not to spoil too much. Again, this is an ongoing, so it's not necessarily going to be in the next couple of issues, but I want to have a long journey of her kind of coming into her own, whatever that means. Because again, she is a Green Lantern construct. So, and she, even though she has a Blue Lantern ring, she's full of willpower as well. So she has the ability to do whatever she wants with her person. And I think that's an important story to tell, you know?
Makes her one of the more powerful lanterns as well, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, to be able to jump back and forth between the spectrums and whatnot.
Yes. Yeah, definitely.
That's awesome, man. We saw Jessica a little bit. I think a page. We have
We
more
saw,
Jessica.
what was it, a giant head of her,
Yeah,
right? That
giant
was
head.
so.
We're gonna have
That
a
was.
meeting tomorrow about this, man, because you are not doing what we agreed to.
Yeah, it was a giant head of Jess. I think a lot of times in my scripts I put reference images. I think I put the Wizard of Oz. I was like, it's got to be big. It's got to be real big. So yeah, there's gonna be more. I'll spoil a little bit in 12. There's gonna be more giant head Jessica. But yes, yeah, that's that part of the issue is the stringing along the overall plot of what's going on with everybody right now, which is just the growing pains of all the different cores on OA, because this is the first time everyone's kind of been in each other's space, and people are trying to maybe take too much space, and people aren't necessarily happy with where they are, and all that type of stuff. So it's fun.
I mean, they're at OA, right?
Yeah.
And OA is a Green Lantern headquarter
Yeah.
home, and they got every spectrum on this planet. You could see how that could cause all kinds of issues.
Exactly. Yeah.
So I assume we're going to see a lot of the different spectrums too, and all the different characters. The red.
Yes, we are. Yeah. And the conflict that ensues, for sure. Yeah.
100%. Aya is definitely a fan favorite. We hadn't seen her for a while until I think Jeremy brought her back. I don't remember what issue it was, but she is certainly a fan favorite. I love her.
Yeah. She's great.
She's great, and we got to see a much deeper side of her. She does have a soul, it seems like, with what she was able to do with the construct. That's, I think, a major development for her as well.
Yes, absolutely. And I grew up. I was a little older at this point, but the Green Lantern animated series, I was like in high school at that point. And that's where she debuted, because she wasn't originally a comic book character. I've always loved that character. So when Jeremy brought her back, I was like, yes. And I also I'm exploring this obviously with Ellie too, but I love the idea of non-human things with human emotions. That's just, I don't know. Maybe it's just I grew up on too much, science fiction and, Philip K. Dick novels and stuff like that. But I love all of that. So me exploring her having a soul and her having reluctance to accepting that, like all that stuff is, the stuff that I love.
I absolutely love it, man. Well, congratulations on taking this title on yourself, man. It's been great. It's been a lot of fun, Morgan. I'm having a blast, man. I don't miss an issue. And I think a lot of fans are absolutely loving it. I think the world is healed when we have a Green Lantern and we have a Green Lantern Corps book.
Yes,
I think that's really important because I grew up long runs of both of those titles kind of going hand in hand, man. So congratulations on that, Morgan.
Thank you. Yeah. And I totally agree too. And I also think, like, I don't know this for sure, but I'm just going to assume, like, the Absolute books selling, 8.2 million copies this year is why, we get to do this. Like, what's the phrase, like, rising tides raise all boats or whatever.
Exactly.
Like, because when I first got brought onto this book, it wasn't what it is now. It was supposed to be a book. They pitched it to me as something that was modular, where it was going to be shifting creative teams and character focus every couple issues. And then a month later, I got a call from Paul Kaminsky saying, actually, no, Green Lantern Corps is going to be an ongoing, and it's going to be you and Jeremy. And I think that's representative of just like how successful the Absolute books are, where they were like, actually, we can just greenlight a book as an ongoing off rip, which, for a while wasn't the case for a lot of books. A lot of books were miniseries, and if they were successful, they would get, renewed. But to have a book off the jump be an ongoing, I gotta thank Scott Snyder and Josh Williamson and all those guys over there with everything they're doing, because it lets all these other books have, the breathing room that you need to tell longer form stories and stuff.
Absolutely. Yeah. Have you have an idea for a character that you would like to bring into the Absolute universe?
Oh man, I was actually thinking about that before I hopped on this with you. I don't have one at the top of my head. I almost feel like it would be interesting to do an Absolute character that is more important in that world than they are in the main world. So like, I think everything that they've been doing so far, they're mainline DC characters, right? And this is how they're different in this universe. But like, I don't know, I would love to see, I'm just pulling something out of my ass here. That an ambush, absolute ambush bug, you know. So like, what would that look like, you know? And then like, how would that make him more important in the main universe, you know, for
Yeah.
the inevitable, you know, crossover that they're probably going to do? I don't know. I think that would be interesting. But I guess a better answer would be, I think it would be cool to see what the Titans look like
Yeah.
in a world like this. Like how, you know, I think the absolute thing is it's the heroes we know and love without the crutches that they're used to in the main world.
Exactly.
What does a team full of sidekicks look like that aren't sidekicks to any main heroes? I don't know. I got to think about that.
It would be amazing, man. I hope you get an
Yeah.
opportunity to get in front of Scott and Josh to be able to pitch that. I
Yeah.
think that would be, if it's not already in the cards, man, I think that would be
Yeah,
amazing. Because
definitely.
you know that the absolute universe is going to continue to expand because it's on fire, and it's obviously having a
Yeah.
halo effect on all the other titles. And growing
Yeah.
up, I've always been more of a DC fan than anything else. I love it all. I read Marvel, everything. I have nothing against Marvel, but my first comic books were like Superman and Batman, and then
Yeah.
Spider-Man, right? Those are the three main ones that I grew up on. But more on the DC side, I like that. I don't know, the characters are more, I don't know, more all-encompassing, more powerful,
Yeah.
more godlike. Whereas, which I love about Marvel too, is they're a lot more street level, a lot
Yeah.
more. You could relate to them more of a human level because you've probably gone through some of the same things. You can't really relate to Superman. You can't really relate to Batman. We're not all
It's tough.
billionaires that have money to
Yeah.
trade these toys. You think is the right thing to do for your city. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm so happy that DC is on fire right now. If you look at, I mean, we don't like, 10 years ago, we used to get a list of the top 200 comic books every single week.
Yeah.
And you would see 1 through 200, right? There'd be a
Yeah.
ranking of everything. I'm not sure why that gone away. I'm not going to speculate. So the data that we get is not great, but the
Yeah.
data we do get shows that DC has like 7 of the top 10
It's crazy. It's crazy.
consistently. So as a DC guy, I haven't seen this in many, many, many years, man. Marvel
Yeah.
usually has 8 or 9 titles in the top 10. DC might have 1 in the top 10, and they're in the top 20 or 30, right? So
Yeah.
to be able to see, I mean, what Scott and Josh have done on the Absolute Universe is just, I mean, Kelly Thompson, Jason Aaron, Dennis Camp. I mean, everyone is killing it right now, man. So as a fan of DC, I could not be happier for all of you because it's going to benefit everybody, I think, at DC. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, I'm feeling it now. Like just to be on an ongoing book in 2025 is benefit, you know.
100%, man. 100%. Well, Morgan, do you have a calendar of maybe like the first couple of months of any cons that you're going to?
Yeah, in a couple weeks actually, because it's the end of December now, which is crazy. I'm doing back-to-back conventions. That's going to be interesting. I'm going to be in New Orleans, Fan Expo, New Orleans, the weekend of, what is it, the 6th through the 9th or something like that. And then the week after that, I'm going to be at another Fan Expo in Portland.
Okay.
So back-to-back.
Rose City, though, right?
No, Rose City is, I think, in September. Yeah.
Okay.
This is a Fan Expo. Fan Expo, they have cons like basically every city, I guess. So yeah, New Orleans and then Portland back-to-back in the middle of January. And then, yeah, I'm sure I'm going to be doing a lot more, but I don't know yet for sure.
Well, just remember Fan Expo Dallas.
Yes. Yeah, I'll add it to my list.
It's a 5-hour drive for me, but I'll make it, man.
Cool.
And I'll have a good stack for you to sign, bro.
Cool. Sounds good to me.
And then how can people follow you on all the socials?
I added it right there underneath my name, next to
perfect.
Maple Donut Aficionado, because that always comes first.
Your favorite donut or what?
Yes, it is. Absolutely. It's incredible. I want one right now. But at Millennial, any social media platform, you can find me there.
I love it, man. I'm going to write that right in here in the comments. That way, if people get over there and give Morgan a follow, that way you stay up to date on all the amazing things that you're working on. Do you have anything in your back pocket? Obviously, you can't share, but from an indie standpoint, creator owned, that you're just holding on to. And if you get the opportunity, you'd like to either take it to Kickstarter or maybe offer it up to like a Mad Cave or something on the side. And
yeah, I will say I can't say much.
Yep.
But I do have an original creator owned in the works.
Nice.
It's going to be a long time before anyone hears anything about it, but I'm doing it. That's all I can say.
I mean, that's what it's all about, man, is
Yeah.
having that balance of working for one of the big two and be able to touch all these amazing characters, and at the
Yeah.
same time creating something that you own for the future too, man. I think
Absolutely.
that's very smart and very needed today. A
Yeah.
lot of creators are doing that. I mean, Scott
Yeah.
has been able to kill it with, what was it called, Best Jacket?
Yep.
Yeah, so he's killed it, man. And so, yeah, I'm happy for you, Morgan. A fan of your work, my friend. Really glad that you're on Green Lantern Corps. I'm really enjoying it. Congratulations on all your success. Much deserved. I know you worked hard for that. And I can't wait to see other titles that you're able to grab, man. Hopefully you get that second chance at Cyborg. Maybe next year, man. They're talking about bringing some of those other characters that don't get as much love to bring them in. And Cyborg should be an A-list character, man.
I agree.
Yeah, he's a dope character.
It's got apocalyptic technology, man. Like, that's insane.
Everything going on with AI and there's so much more you could do with Cyborg, with how fast IT and everything related to virtual, like things are going crazy in the real world. And yet, like, a lot of that could be added, I think. So I think there's so much story to tell. And, to bring a little bit more of that human side of him to help develop that. I think that'd be amazing, man.
Yeah. I also, real quick, I do want to plug, I'm doing, me, Joe Illidge, Stephanie Williams, and Nick Draper-Ivy, we are doing kind of, I guess you can call it an addendum to the new history of the DCU that Mark Waid was working on. It's called New History of the DCU, the Dakota Incident. And we're basically going to be telling an untold story of Milestone and DC history that explains why we haven't seen the Milestone characters in a while. Because I know, as a comic book fan, you probably remember, obviously they did the Milestone relaunch a couple years ago. That was still in its own little universe. But, in the mid to late 2000s, they integrated the Milestone characters to the DC universe proper. Like, Static was on the Teen Titans, Icon was hanging out with Superman in the Justice League, and then they were just gone.
Yeah.
And there's a real world reason as to why that happened. But we are going to tell the in-universe reason as to why they haven't been around and if they're coming back or not. So that's coming out in February, I think the 25th. Pre-order should be up for that now, but I think it's going to be pretty big. It's been a lot of fun to work on it with those guys and Stephanie. It's going to be fun.
Legend, no, 100%, man. And I did know about the Dakota. I should have brought that up, but I'm glad.
That's okay.
Because that's going to be huge. And I think there is a lot of questions, like, what's going on, man?
Yeah.
Like, I don't think people realize, I have all the compendiums and I have a lot of the is literally probably one of the most, if not the most powerful DC character in the entire universe, including Superman. And I don't think people realize that. And it's a shame. I know they've touched it. And again, I know there's real world things that go on as to why, but those characters need to be integrated. And literally, I think Static, there should be movies and everything, man.
Static should, yeah. And I love this character, but I'm going to say this. Static should have the clout that Miles Morales has. Like
100%.
There's so much potential there. Yeah,
more
absolutely.
Right? Because how long has Miles been around? 10 years? 8 years?
Something like that. Yeah, a little bit more, I think. But I think it's just it's just putting it in front of the people. And for so long, Static wasn't. He was, and then he wasn't. And the same thing with all the Milestone characters. So there's a lot of potential for that character, and I hope this book does well enough. So it means we can dig back into those and give those characters the shine that they deserve, because they're part of comic book history. First Black and brown publisher in comics was huge. Fingers crossed.
Man, well, I can't wait for that series as well. Is it going to be one large issue, or is it going to be 3 or 4 issues?
It's a 40-page issue.
Okay, perfect.
Four stories told. This is probably spoiling something, but I'm just going to say it. 4 stories told in chronological order. So we all we approached it like a writer's room, where Joe, Nick, Stephanie, me, and the editors, even Mark Waid, kind of consulted on things as well. Because, like I said, this is in DC proper, so we had to figure out where in the history we were going to place it.
Yeah.
So we kind of all came up with the story together, and then broke off and did our own individual stories. It's, if I do say so myself, it's pretty good.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. I can't wait for it. And a little shout out to Joe. Joe's been on the program a couple of times. He has this new Illuminous site up now.
Yeah.
So if you want to get advice from like the godfather of comic books, he's been around for 35 plus years, man. Head over to Illuminous and check it out. It's called luminousideas.com. I'm just going to put this down here in the link so that if anybody wants to go check it out, go check it out. If you're a comic creator, you have an opportunity to work with Joe and get some advice and some ideas on how to take what you're creating to the next level. And who better to do that than Papa Joe, man? I mean, that guy's incredible. Yeah,
absolutely.
Incredible. Morgan, I had a blast, man. I hope this is not the only time. I'm hoping I can reach out to you and you can come back and we talk about some of the other issues.
Anytime. Yeah, I'd love to come back.
I appreciate it, Morgan. Really happy for you. Hang tight, okay?
Sure.
All right, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. Thanks for hanging out in the comments section and asking questions. Until next time, everyone have a blessed, what is it? Today is what?
December 26th.
26th, Friday, man.
Yeah.
Year's almost over, so have a blessed weekend, everyone. Talk soon.
You're still here? It's over. Go home. Go.